This is a suggestion from a subscriber, the Chris Tramontano, who wanted me to do a top 10 villains list. But I wasn't sure how to go about this, as ranking them based on how strong they are is kind of pointless. It should be obvious who's stronger than who. And just ranking them based on which ones I liked just didn't intrigue me. So after some thinking, I decided to rank the villains based on just how evil they are. Meaning, I'm looking at the villains who are irredeemable and just dastardly. This will only cover villains in canon, so no OG-13 films or GT. Sorry, but those deserve their own lists. Also, I want to be clear that ranking shouldn't bring about arguing or saying others are wrong, but rather spark conversation. This is all subjective. What I want from this series is to share my feelings and then hear from you. Tell me what you would put on your list. I'd love to hear it. Anyway, let's get started with a few honorable mentions.
なんじゃ、鶴仙人か。お主まだ生きておったのか。相変わらず口も顔も悪いの。
嫌な感じ。
いや、バカバカしい話を耳にしたんでな。お主の弟子どもがこの前の天下一武道会で随分活躍したそうじゃの。それがどうした？おっと、アガロットよ、子供を預かっておく。生きて返してほしければこの兄の命令を聞くんだな。
What a way to introduce the antagonist of this part of the story, the Saiyans. Having Goku's older brother appear and tell him of their heritage is one thing, but the fact that he chooses his job over his family is enough to tell us what kind of people they are. He's willing to kill his own nephew and brother. While of course we do learn that the Saiyans were under the thumb of Frieza and basically had no choice, it's still pretty low to turn on one's own family. Unlike most of Frieza's men, these guys didn't just do their thing out of fear of Frieza, but rather they enjoyed it. Aside from Frieza himself, they were the next top dogs in the galaxy with no opposition. This gave them the personalities we saw of being overconfident and also torturing their enemies, as opposed to just quickly doing away with them. Putting far too much care into looking cool and creating battle poses, also taking turns fighting against enemies by playing Janken, and even making bets with chocolate. Life was just a game to them. Until Goku came along, that is. Majin Buu in his true form, or Kid Buu for the Funimation dub, not talking about Fat Buu, but the real Buu that Bibidi created. While he's one of the strongest villains on this list, he's hardly a evil villain, as he's essentially the mind of a child. A chaotic, murderous one, of course. Still, a mindset like that is indeed a terrifying thing, as there's just no reasoning with him, especially with no master to control him. Unlike Cell, he wasn't given any one true purpose, but rather was expected to be fully controlled by Bibidi, who used him like unleashing a rabid dog on planets, but even Bibidi couldn't fully control him. But at the end of all of it, he doesn't do terrible things because he enjoys it, rather he doesn't know any better.
そして最終目的は俺にはさっぱり見えてこない。地球、いや宇宙を征服することなのか。
武道大会の目的は私の完全体の強さの確認と全世界を恐怖に陥れること、それに私の強さをさらに引き出すための練習になる。最終目的は特にありはしない。征服などという俗なことに興味はないし、もともと私が作られた目的である孫悟空を殺すことなど今となっては大した意味がない。あえて言えば楽しむことが目的かな。一番の目的はもちろん恐怖に引きつった人間どもの顔を見ることだ。そうそう、そんな顔だ。では。
Cell. One of the many examples on this list where a creation breaks free of their creator's control. A mess of DNA that led to a battle-hungry madman who only cares about getting stronger. This is also his greatest weakness, as at the time of becoming perfect, he could have laid the earth to waste, killing everyone. But Toriyama, being so sly, made sure this story arc showed how Saiyans stupidly will allow their opponents to reach their full potential as a means of testing their own mettle. While he surely doesn't care about other life, he also doesn't go out of his way to kill people for enjoyment, though he does tell Trunks that he wants to see humans' faces struck with terror. Ironically, Cell feels all he wants is to enjoy himself, which is exactly what future 17 and 18 wanted. In a demented way, of course, as they found enjoyment through harm, whereas Cell finds enjoyment through battle and getting stronger. Maybe Dr. Ghetto wasn't that good at his job after all.
もうお前たちはご用済みだよ。 ボンだっていつ聞いてもいい音だよね。
はい、自分もそう思います。ではあいつは俺が。
プイプイ、お前やってみたいだろ。
はい。
ナイスショット。
Bobby D, an evil wizard hell-bent on avenging his father. He uses others as his pawns without any care for their lives, throwing them away after they've served their purpose. Everyone else is just fodder for him. If he had only learned the history of his father's work, he might have learned that trying to control Boo was a bad idea. Driven by revenge, he foolishly wastes his time trying to hunt down Piccolo, Goten, and Trunks, despite the fact he had achieved his goal of reviving Majin Buu, and for all he knew, killing Kaioshin. Unfortunately for him, his poor treatment of those who serve him ends up being his own downfall.
.ひょっとしてこれがパンチだったのか。国王はどこだ。
誰が教えるか。
はあ、虫けらが。いえ、国王の居場所。
Piccolo Daimao, or King Piccolo. He is the classic wants to rule the world villain, and also the biggest threat Goku had ever faced in his early years, being the first being to bring Goku to the brink of death. There was no reasoning with him, as he was straight up evil, being the literal evil half of Kami. This gave him zero conscience and no remorse for what he did. As with all the villains on this list, he'll kill anyone who gets in his way with a smile on his face, especially as lower beings mean nothing to him. Though he clearly showed compassion for his own children, meaning he surprisingly isn't the most evil one on this list. General Red, the Red Ribbon Army, and Tao Pai Pai. Now, I struggled with giving Tao Pai Pai, whom I clearly love if you've noticed this statue I have of him in my other videos, but the issue I ran into was that he's honestly not that much different from the Red Ribbon Army, in that he's completely driven by greed. You give him money and he'll kill whomever you want. All of these characters are examples of pure human greed and evil. These aren't aliens or gods. Something the OG series did well was to show that people, humans, can be just as terrible as any monster that goes bump in the night. What makes them great villains is that they have a clear goal. Red's is a little bit of a joke, but as we learned, Black's hope was that the Red Ribbon Army would rule the world. They have no compassion for anyone who stands in their way. They'll kill anyone, women and children, without batting an eye. And in typical villain fashion, they don't even care about their own underlings. Even the generals aren't safe, as failure is met with execution. The fact that these were people, not created beings like some others on this list, they willingly chose to do these horrible things, is what makes them really evil. These are some of the scariest villains, the ones that choose to be evil.
掃除されては
掃除とは
もちろん退治してしまうんです。
なんということを。ザマスよ、それは破壊神の仕事だ。
ではどうすればよいのでしょう。あんな野蛮な連中がおとなしくなるというんですか。
まあもう1000年ほど見守ってみようじゃないか。
秩序が生まれるとも思えませんが。
わからんぞ。
わかります。これまでのいくつもの星の霊を見ても明らかではありませんか。人間という種族はすべて。
Zamas and Goku Black. Unlike most of the villains on this list, Zamas is unique in that he is a god, and his job is he is meant to overlook and protect mortals, but he instead develops a disdain for them. Why would a god protect such vile beings who don't even treat themselves with respect? His rage is pushed to the edge upon meeting Goku. He learns that the lower life forms are able to get strong enough to defeat a god, something that should be considered blasphemous. He takes it upon himself to rid the universe of humanity, but does so slowly while torturing his victims and wanting Goku and his friends to suffer. He doesn't just want to destroy planets, but rather he wants to purge the planets of humans so that there could be true peace in the universe. It's been said many times, but some of the scariest villains are the ones who think they're doing the right thing.
あがめよ、たたえよ、この気高くも美しい、不死にして最強の神。ザマスを。
ここはもうろくに人間が残っちゃいないよ。他行こうよ。北の方に大量の人間どもが隠れてるところがあるはずだよ。
慌てるなよ。もっとじっくりやろうぜ。あっさり全滅させてしまったんじゃ俺たちの楽しみはなくなってしまうんだぞ。
パーッとやっちゃえばいいのに。だったらまたゲームやろうよ。車で引き殺すやつ。
それもいいかも。
Alternate future androids 17 and 18. In this darker tale of a Frankenstein-like story, the androids originally were designed with one single mission: kill Son Goku. The two androids instead turn on their creator, kill him, and instead just decide to massacre everyone in the world. But at their power, they could do so in an instant. Instead, they take their time and gradually kill people for nearly 2 decades, using them for their entertainment. This is just pure demented and evil. Even though some of the stuff we see in the TV special isn't fully canon, according to what Trunks says in the manga, we can assume that most of these things did happen in some shape or form. Basically, using humanity as their playthings makes them some of the most evil beings on this list.
ああ、やっちゃった。ダメじゃない17号。洋服屋だけは残してって言っといたじゃない。
おっと、忘れてた。
あなたは私たちのスカウターを壊してしまったのですから、残り2個の場所を教えていただかないと。
言ったはずだ。仲間のことは死んでも言えぬと。
そんなに死にたいのですか。ならばお望み通りにしましょう。
何？
フリーザ様、スカウターなしでドラゴンボールを探せるでしょうか。
3匹とも殺してしまいなさい。
はあ。
来たね。
お前たちは逃げる。逃げるんだ。はい。ナメック星人の誇りを見せてくれる。よろ
Frieza, a product of how parents can influence their children. He was brought up in his father's empire and taught to subjugate others. Also, being a naturally powerful being without the need to train, he could easily take whatever he desired. When we first meet him, we immediately learn what kind of person he is, willing to kill anyone, including children, just to get what he wants. For the first time in his life, he's pushed to his limit when fighting against Goku, and nearly dies. This brings about a vengeful rage that is like a flame that can never go out. In Dragon Ball Super, he's brought back to life and immediately seeks out revenge again. Ultimately, he fails and is killed again. In the Tournament of Power arc, Ridonai Baba gives Frieza 1 day back so that he may help Universe 7 win. We do get a small sliver of camaraderie between Frieza and Goku here, and it does result in the end, Universe 7 wins, and Frieza is given his life back by Whis. This kind of gives us a farewell to the character. I felt at the time that, alright, Frieza is done at this point. We don't need to see him again. He was the villain. He doesn't need to become a hero like Vegeta or some of the others. We can just say goodbye to the character. We do then get to the Broly movie. When Toriyama decided to bring Frieza back in the Broly movie after just working alongside his former enemies and then being given a second chance at life, to just immediately turn around and resume being bad, I hated this initially. Though I have my own issues with the Broly film, I hated that Frieza was brought back so quickly, where I felt, his character was given a proper send-off. I didn't want to see him redeemed or anything like that, but I thought that was enough of him as a villain, move on. However, over the last few years, I kinda got why Toriyama did it. He wanted it abundantly clear that Frieza is a piece of shit. He can never just live his life in peace away from Goku. He will forever resent what Goku and the rest did. So why is he number 1 here? Because he is the only one on this list who was given multiple chances to change his ways and still chose not to, making him the truest of all Dragon Ball villains.
いくら私が頑張って戦闘力を上げても、敵は孫悟空とベジータの2人。こっちだってもう1人くらい欲しいですよ。
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this top 10. As I said earlier, please drop a comment below and tell me which villains you think are the baddest of the bad. Also, if you have any suggestions for future videos, always feel free to comment and let me know. Next up is a deep dive, so look forward to that, and I'll see you soon.